Okay, today we are going to put everything together that we've been working on, okay? Multiplying fractions, dividing fractions, adding and subtracting fractions, and we've also been working on PEMDAS, okay? So using PEMDAS today with fractions is what we're going to be working on, okay? So your problems are going to be a little bit more complicated, but if you just do them one step at a time like we've been learning and doing, you'll be just fine. Okay, and this is also kind of a point where you gotta make a decision in your young math careers. Okay, you need to, and don't take offense when I say this, but you can either be lazy with the math or you can not be lazy with the math. And what I mean by that is you need to start writing everything out. Okay, if you're trying to still do stuff in your head, you're gonna mess things up. Okay, so writing things out is the only way that you're going to be able to do multi-step problems. And that's mainly what you're going to be doing from this point on. So we just need to accept it and make sure you're writing every single step out and thinking about the process and doing it one step at a time. Okay, so we cannot be lazy with our math work anymore. Okay, so looking at this problem, even though it may look intimidating at first, if we just break it down into certain things, okay, we'll be just fine. So looking at this, we're going to follow PEMDAS. We have to think about PEMDAS, okay? So we have parentheses. If we look at our problem, we have no parentheses, so we don't have to worry about that. Exponents, do we have any exponents? No, right? So we move to the next thing. Which is multiplication, okay? And right here, I can see I have multiplication in the middle. So we're going to start there according to PEMDAS. Okay, so if we look at that problem, and you may have to rewrite your problem down here, okay, and this is all part of that process. Okay, so just focus on one part of the problem at a time. So we know how to multiply fractions, so we're going to do that, right? Okay, so we're going to start out, we're going to cross cancel anything that we can. So 4 and 4 are going to cancel to 1 and 1. Okay, 3 and 5, if we look at that, we cannot cancel 3 and 5. Okay, then we're going to look up and down. 1 and 3, no. 5 and 1, no. Okay, so now we can multiply straight across. 1, okay, so we got 1 times 5. Okay, and that is going to equal 5 on top. And then 3 times 1 on the bottom. Okay, we get 5/3. Okay, so that part of the process is done. We still need to rewrite our problem so we can look at it again. Okay, so we have 4 still from the original problem. Our two fractions right here, okay, are now 5/3. So I'm going to write that in there, 5/3. Plus, we still have 11/6 over here. So we're going to put that back in our problem as well, 11/6. So this is our new problem. Okay, according to PEMDAS, we don't have any more multiplication or division. Okay, we're at addition and subtraction. Okay, and we make sure we do that from left to right, right? So we're going to do this side first. So we got to do 4 minus 5/3. Okay, so we've done problems like this. Okay, and so if we have a whole number, we just need to turn it into a fraction. Okay, so we got 4 over 1. We're going to change that to 4 over 1 minus 5/3. Now remember, doing addition and subtraction, we got to have the same denominators. Okay, so here, 1 can turn into 3 just by taking it times 3. We don't need to do anything to this fraction because we're already using 3 as our denominator, so we don't have to change that denominator. Times 3 over here. Okay, our denominator and our answer is going to be 3. 4 times 3, that becomes 12. Now we have 12 minus 5. Okay, we're going to get 7/3. Okay, so now, I'm running out of paper here. So we got 7/3. Remember, we got that from this, right? So we still have this. We're going to move that into our problem. So we have plus 11/6. Okay, and this is the last thing we're going to have to do in this problem. Again, we're doing addition and subtraction. Okay, so we have to make the denominators the same. can do that by taking this times 2 and making it 6. Okay, so that makes our denominator 6. This becomes 6. Take this times 2. Whatever we do the bottom, we got to do the top. So this becomes 14. Okay, so now we got 14 plus 11, and that's going to give us 25 over 6, right? And so now we're at the end, okay? And if you guys noticed, here I had 5/3, and it's an improper fraction. I'm not going to change that to a mixed number until the very end. Okay, so now at the very end, we have an improper fraction. We can turn that into a mixed number. Okay, so remember if you can do that in your head, that's fine. But if you cannot, then divide them, right? So 6, how many times can 6 go into 25? It'd be 4 times, right? And so that would be 4 times 6 is 24. So we subtract that, we have a 1 as a remainder. So now we can figure out what this is going to be. Okay, so this, remember, it's 4 and 1/6. Okay, so those are the numbers we're going to use. So our answer here is 4 and 1/6. And that's how you would do that. So you got to take it one step at a time, okay, and work out the different parts. That's all you're doing is sticking a bunch of parts together. We have to separate them out and work them out. Let's look at one more problem. Okay, here we have a parentheses. Okay, so remember, or not a parenthesis. Well, we have a parentheses here, but we don't have to do anything inside our parentheses, right? According to PEMDAS, because it's already done. But we do have an exponent now. This 3. Remember that exponents mean you have to take the base times itself that many times, right? So in other words, we have to do and you may have to rewrite your problem out, okay, to what it's going to be. So this problem is really 1/2 times 1/2. So we have to take 1/2 times itself 3 times, times 1/2, okay, and then plus 1/3. Okay, so that's our actual problem that we're going to be working out. So according to PEMDAS, okay, if we wrote that out, according to PEMDAS, we don't have any parentheses now. We don't have any exponents because we just wrote it out. Okay, so now we're to multiplication and division. We got to do that before we do addition. Okay, so we're going to do the 1/2 times 1/2 first. Okay, remember if we're multiplying, we don't have to have a common denominator on the bottom. We are going to cross cancel and then cancel up and down. So 1 and 2 we cannot cancel. 1 and 2 we cannot cancel or simplify, right? 1 and 2, and we got to look up and down. Can't simplify, and we can't simplify that. So we can't simplify anything. We're just going to multiply it out. So 2 times 2 on the bottom becomes 4, and then 1 times 1 gives us 1/4, right? So that is this right here that we just did. So this, can even cross that out. I don't have that anymore because that became 1/4, but I'm going to move everything else, so the rest of my problem down, okay, or at least this part, because I'm going to do that next. So remove that part down there. So times 1/2 again. Okay, so again, we don't have to have a common denominator, but we do need to see if we can cross cancel. So 1 and 4 can't simplify. 1 and 2 cannot simplify. 1/4 cannot. 1/2 we cannot. Okay, so now we're going to multiply it out. On the bottom, we're going to get 8. 4 times 2 is 8. On top, 1 times 1 becomes 1/8. Okay, so now we've done this part. Okay, now we need to move this into our problem. So plus 1/3. Okay, so now we're doing addition and subtraction again. So we do have to find a common denominator. I'm just going to multiply these two together. So 3 times 8 gives me 24, and I can use that as my denominator. Okay, so let me change colors here. So on this one, we'd have to do times 8 to get 24. On this one, we'd have to do times 3 to get 24. So that would actually become 24 and 24. We have a common denominator. Times 3 on the top, times 8, because because whatever we do at the bottom, we got to do at the top. So this becomes 3, this becomes 8. We are adding those together. So 3 plus 8, we get 11 over 24. And that is not an improper fraction, so that it should be simplified, right? Well, we can look at it actually because we weren't doing multiplication. So, but it is simplified, so that is your answer. Okay, so take it one step at a time. Okay, you really got to start thinking. Okay, if you want to be lazy and not write things out, you're not gonna be good at math. Okay, so if you take your time, okay, write everything out step by step, you'll be decent at math. Okay, so you cannot be lazy with math from this point on. All right, that's PEMDAS with fractions.